Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to my channel, and, well, this is a little bit of a bonus video. I actually wasn't planning on making this, but I got to thinking about it, and I decided, like, what the hell, I'll do it. And I decided to review the Evil Dead video game that recently came out. Keep in mind, like, I'm not reviewing any of the other Evil Dead games, like Regeneration, Hail to the King, Fistful of Boomstick. I'm not doing any of that, mostly because I haven't played them. But this newest Evil Dead game, like, it actually, like, connects all of the movies and the TV shows, and, like, I'm assuming it's going to connect to Evil Dead Rise eventually, which, that's great. But basically, to start off, and this review might actually be a little bit longer than all the other ones, but to start off, like, the gameplay is great. I mean, the best thing about a video game is obviously the gameplay. It's almost like a little bit like a Battle Royale, kind of, which eventually they did add in a Battle Royale mode. But basically, it's like you and 3 friends against like a horde of Deadites, and you're trying to find like the necessary items that you need to close the book and banish the Dark Ones, the villains from Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 3, trying to banish them like out of our world, right? So far, at least at the time of recording this, like, there's only 3 maps, which is like the cabin, the suburbs that are based on Ash vs. Evil Dead TV series, and Castle Kandar. All of which are great. There are a few details that I actually just started to notice recently, where, like, I'm not sure if it depends on the characters you play as, but sometimes, like, the weather changes, where, say, like, sometimes if you're on the map that features the Nobi cabin, the sky will actually start to rain blood, kind of similar to what it did in the 2013 remake, which I thought that was a pretty cool detail. I never noticed that until now. Castle Kandar, like, there's a section of the actual castle that's called Yield Esmart, which, great callback to the Army of Darkness. Even the map, I believe that's called Cleaver County, the one that's inspired by the Army of Darkness map. Even that one has some great moments in there. Great callbacks to, like, the TV show. The characters that you get to play as, like, you actually get to play as, like, 4 different versions of Ash Williams. Like, the one from the TV show, the one from Army of Darkness, Evil Dead 2, the first Evil Dead. That's all cool. Like, you can even get an achievement if you... I can't remember if you have to win the match, but you get an achievement for playing a match where everyone on your team, you included, is a version of Ash Williams. And then, like, you still got, like, other characters that are featured, such as like Mia and David, who were in the recent update. You get to play as Pablo and Kelly. They eventually added in Ruby, but you also get to play as Amanda Fisher from the first season of Ash vs. Evil Dead. They also added in quite a few characters from the Army of Darkness film, which maybe I'm not on an island on thinking that Army of Darkness is one of my favorites, because they added in a lot of Army of Darkness content. They added in Lord Arthur, they added in Henry the Red. They even add in the blacksmith, who, I kid you not, he has more speaking lines in this game than the actual movie that he was in. I'm not even kidding, which I'll get more into that soon, but the characters are all great. You even get to play as, like, Annie Nobi and, like, Cheryl and Scotty and that one archaeologist guy. From Evil Dead 2. But basically, like, you got a plethora of characters to choose from. They are all fantastic. Even on the demon side, which, yes, you get to play as the demon. I think they should add a few more to it, but so far you get to play as, like, Henrietta, Evil Ash, the witch who appeared in that one segment from Army of Darkness, and that one mid-tier demon called, like, Elagos, the one in Season 1 who possessed Kelly. and all of them have different abilities that they can use. They're all really cool. The main demon you play as, like, obviously the Kandarian demon. Like, he's pretty cool. Like, he can possess, like, any kind of unit, including the boss characters. You can also possess, like, the trees, which you get an achievement where if you smack 2 people at once with a tree branch, you even get to possess the car and run people over, which is great. Oh, and you can also possess the deer head, like in Evil Dead 2, which I should have mentioned this in Evil Dead 2. The only other slapstick scene, the only other slapstick scene that works for me, aside from Ash's possessed hand, like, attacking him, is the scene where Ash is, like, actually going a little bit insane from all the deadites possessing, like, inanimate objects and laughing with him. But it's still kind of pretty funny that, like, you can possess a deer head in the game. The mechanics are great. The combat is pretty cool. Like, you can dodge or, like, just shoot people, or you can get up close range and kill them with whatever melee weapon you have, including a chainsaw, of course. Aside from, like, the core gameplay of, like, going around the map and finding items to defeat the Dark Ones, they also have, like, these offline missions similar to the Friday the 13th video game, where there's actually a little bit of story in there that are based off of, like, the main movies, of course. And then, like, a little bit later, the missions become, like, the missions became a little bit more out there. Like, the mission where you get to play as Arthur shows a little bit more lore of, like, where he is now out of time, and he's stuck in the cabin and he has to get back, but he's being chased by Evil Ash. Or, like, the one that features Henry the Red, where he actually fights the demons that are a little bit like Elagos from Season 1 of Ash vs. Evil Dead. And from there he gets, like, these new clothes from the blacksmith. And that's what I was talking about, where the blacksmith has more dialogue in the game than in the actual Army of Darkness movie, which I think is a little bit funny. But from there, like, Henry the Red has to fight, like, the witch at the top of Castle Kandar, which comes with one of the most badass rock songs that I have heard in a while. That's simply just called Burn 'Em Down. There's going to be a link in the description for this song, because, like, this song is just phenomenal. Like, it's something that I listen to at least twice a day. It's just awesome to listen to. And, like, even when you finish the missions, like, you get these audio tapes from Professor Nobi that actually kind of hints at, like, the in-universe explanation on, like, how you can, say, play as Ash from Army of Darkness, and another character can play as Cheryl Williams. Like, it's actually explained in the audio tapes that, like, Nobi screwed up again by having the demon possess his wife Henrietta. He's trying to find, like, the chosen one, like the hero from the sky, Ash, but in doing so, he is constantly pulling in, like, all these different characters. Like, he first pulls in Henry the Red, who I think he ends up killing Henrietta, but then he's constantly pulling in all these other people. Like, he pulls in Pablo and Kelly. I think he ends up pulling in Ash from Ash vs. Evil Dead, but I'm not too sure on that. And I'm pretty sure, like, with the more missions that they keep adding, the more characters are going to be explored in those audio tapes. And I, for one, am welcome to listen to more of those if they keep adding them. Depending on when you watch this, there will be a new update to the game, which I think will feature Brock Williams, the guy who was in Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, as well as Ball, who is the main villain of Season 2. And that's great and all. Like, I welcome more content. I mean, heck. The only piece of content I bought was when, like, they put in, like, Mia and David in from the 2013 film. I would like to see the Abomination from that movie come into play in this, but I think they're going to prioritize Ash vs. Evil Dead and like the core films, which, speaking of, I'm sure it's going to take them a while, but I really hope that they add in the characters from Evil Dead Rise, which I can't even remember the names, but after that movie releases, I really hope that the main characters from from that movie, like, they get added into the game in time. And heck, it would actually be pretty cool if they actually add in a map that's inspired by the high-rise building, where like instead of like an open sandbox area like how the previous maps are, like, what if they did a map where it's like vertical, where you have to go from floor to floor, which would add which in my opinion would make the game even more tense, right? Where instead of like just running around like an open area, you're in like a semi-closed off space with demons coming in through the walls, coming in through the windows, coming down from the stairway, and you have to fight through literally every single last one of them in order to get to the dark ones. That would be awesome. But again, that's just wishful thinking right now. I hope that they do this, but I'm not expecting them to. But again, I can talk about this game for so long. Like, I've already done plenty of videos about this before. But really, to wrap up this review, like, it's a fantastic game. Like, I honestly don't have any negatives for it, really. The only negative that I really have with it, which isn't even the game's fault, this is just with my gaming system as a whole. It's the fact that because I bought online, I can only play it online, where like if I lose Wi-Fi, then I can't. Which, again, that's just a problem with all the games in general that I have. It's the same thing with like the Arkham games, with Resident Evil, like just all of them, which sucks. But, you know, what can you do? But basically, final thoughts, game is fantastic. I'd love to see more games centered around Evil Dead and the characters, just to explore on the lore. Like, even if Bruce Campbell decides to come back and do like a video game featuring Ash that takes place after Ash vs. Evil Dead, kind of similar to how the Ghostbusters video game like was a continuation of the first two movies until Afterlife got released. Even that would be awesome. But those are just my thoughts on the video game. I'd love to hear anybody else's. But in the meantime, that's it for me, and I will see you guys in the Evil Dead Rise review. Goodbye, everyone. Oh, and hail to the king, baby.